People in the Prior Lake area remain on edge this morning.
Police are still looking for Ty Hoffman, an accused killer. Officers searched near Mystic Lake Casino yesterday after witness spotted a man who looked like Hoffman. Police tell us Hoffman shot and killed his ex-boyfriend Kelly Phillips outside of a gas station in Arden Hills last month. Police also think this is Hoffman caught on surveillance cameras robbing a bank in Blaine on Sunday. Investigators think Hoffman used money stolen from the bank to pay for a bus ride to the casino in Prior Lake, where he may have been trying to launder that stolen cash. And while this most recent search turned up nothing, police say, quote, the net is quickly tightening around both him and anyone who may be aiding him.
Lack of a better term, he's been very lucky. You know, we've followed up on every lead we can, and he's just been somewhat lucky at this point.
Police say some of the tips they've received came from people who spotted Hoffman and waited to call it in. If you see Ty Hoffman, police want you to call right away.
Overnight, we've learned the Justice Department is now opening a civil rights investigation into the Ferguson, Missouri Police Department. Police in that St. Louis suburb have been under scrutiny since last month's shooting of Michael Brown by police officer Darren Wilson. The probe will look into patterns of arrests and the use of force by police. Separately, federal prosecutors and a grand jury in Missouri are conducting investigations into the specific incident that claimed Brown's life. President Barack Obama in Wales today for the start of a two-day NATO summit meeting. He's talking with European leaders to figure out a response to Russian actions in eastern Ukraine. The NATO meeting is also expected to address the rising threat posed by the Islamic militant group ISIS in Iraq and Syria. ISIS has beheaded 2 Americans and is believed to be holding several other hostages.
A judge has ruled that a public nuisance claim can move forward against the St. Paul, Minneapolis Archdiocese and Diocese of Winona. The lawsuit involves an alleged victim of former priest Thomas Admonson. It accuses the church of creating a public nuisance by allowing priests to have access to children after knowing of past inappropriate behavior. Lawyers for the church asked that the case be dismissed, arguing it does not meet the criteria for a public nuisance. The Ramsey County judge disagreed, saying failure to disclose information about an accused priest is conceivably more dangerous than other acts that have been considered public nuisances. The case is scheduled for trial on November the 3rd.
Organizers of the Minnesota State Fair are thrilled that they set a new record for attendance this year, but they say they're alarmed and disappointed they had the first armed robbery in the history of the fair. Police say that happened after 11 Friday night as workers for the Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild exhibit were closing up for the night. The robbers tied up 2 workers and stole more than $10,000 in cash. At least 10 minutes went by before those tied up victims were discovered and officers were notified. The fair's general manager calls it a bold crime considering the huge police presence.
That gets back to the disappointment. You know, really? Come on, it's the fair.
No arrests have been made. At this point, we don't have a description of the suspects, but police are confirming that more than one person was involved.
This morning, members of the LGBT community in Louisiana are planning to appeal after a federal judge upheld the state's ban on gay marriage. Sends a streak of more than 20 rulings in a row, which overturned bans in other states. The judge wrote, quote, there is simply no fundamental right historically or traditionally to same-sex marriage. He also wrote that ruling in favor of it could open the door to marriage between an aunt and niece, brother and brother, father and child. Louisiana's amendment banning gay marriage has been on the books for 10 years. Supporters of same-sex marriage say the amendment does not trump the U.S. Constitution's guarantee of equal protection under the law.